morning, everybody. Question for you before we get started. If you had to get a listing today, what would you do? Good morning, everyone. Jeff Renevier here, and thank you for tuning into this week's Focus Friday. Listen, if you've had to get a listing right this second, has been one of my favorite questions to ask most recently. Some of you, the answers, believe it or not, have shocked me, right? So here we go. I wrote them down for you guys. I'd call my SOI. All right, great place to start. When I had a follow-up question, I said, anyone specific, zero specificity. However, I'm supposed to say that word. Second, I do a social media post. This is my favorite one, by the way. You know, the social media post, and I hope no one's on this call right now who's done this and who continues to do this, but it's this. I just wanted to say, hey, I'm here, your local realtor professional. And if you know anyone who wants to buy or sell, please pass along my name. Guys, this is a strategy that a lot of people use. It is not a strategy that will garner you any sort of, I don't know, advantage. It probably won't get you anywhere seriously. One brave soul even said, hey, Jeff, I'd door knock. All right, what would you say? I don't know. I don't know what to do. Oh, God. And they talked themselves out of actually door knocking. So the majority of the folks who answered the question, though, are you ready for this one? They literally looked me in the eye and like, Jeff, I have no idea what I'd do. I don't know. I don't know what I would do if I had to get a listing right this second. So then I reframed it. Okay. I reframed it. I don't know if you're anything like the Renevier household, there's a dog that is in our life, and his name is Woodrow. And our 5.5-year-old son, Cash, loves this dog. Like, he's the dog that allows you just to bang on him, and the dog doesn't move. And if Woody was gone, like we've gone on vacation before where Cash has actually said, I miss Woodrow. So knowing that connection, like we can never take this dog away from him. So I asked this question knowing that if your dog's sort of time with your family was on the line, what would you do to get a listing? Now, I know some people have used this example like, hey, if your kids were kidnapped or if your life depended on it. That's a little extreme for some. I totally get it. To me, it resonates. But I wanted to soften it a bit with the puppies, with the pets, the favorite animal in the house. That, like, I mean, that's a dog at like Woodrow. I'm allergic to dogs, even the golden doodle that we have. And he still makes me sneeze, but he puts his head in my lap like every evening when I sit down in my chair. How do you get upset with that? You can't, right? So anyways, as you can imagine, believe it or not, the answers to the reframed question were significantly different. They were so crystal clear, they were articulated, they were very, very, very focused on actual real strategies to get a listing. Why, you ask? Because in this case, urgency was created. If I don't, then my dog leaves, then my kid's upset, right? Like, it's a really, really real thing. So for a lot of us, it's like, well, shoot, like, how am I going to put food on the table? How can I provide for my family? If you have that urgency in the back of your head, not 24/7, but let's call it 1 hour a day, your approaches are a lot different. So now I'm getting some different answers, right? Now I'm getting some real stuff. Right. So one of them was, well, I'd be circle prospecting specifically about an area with recent activity in the market. Or I do have a true buyer need. Hey, listen, Sally Sue, homeowner of 123 Main Street. I have this family of two. They go to Montfort School. We really, really, really need to stay in this school district. Do you know anybody in the market in this neighborhood who is thinking about selling? That's different than the social media post. You're just simply, now, Sally, I promised my clients, this family of four, that I would contact everybody in this particular neighborhood to see if they even wanted to rent a house. They don't even need to buy, they would prefer, but they just need to be in this school district. The idea of creating community, bringing people together, helping everyone solve a problem. Remember, as salespeople, it is our job to help people make decisions that help themselves. This would be one of those things. Another answer after we reframed the question with the puppy was calling homeowners, get this, who purchased homes 4 to 9 years ago. What? Jeff, why and how would I ever do that? Well, guys, 4 years ago, they're sitting potentially on an absolute mint of appreciation. 9 years ago, they really are sitting on a mint. Now, the question is, what is the mint? How big is it? What is that appreciation value? How does that impact them? Well, we're gonna unpack that here in a little bit. And then lastly, one of the main common answers was identifying non-owner occupied properties. Why is that important? Well, it's either a second home, third home, fourth home, whatever, or it's a rental. In a rental case, 9 times out of 10, if they're anything like the investor clients I've had over the years, they just really truly care about one thing, and that is, does it make me the money that I'm looking for now? Every investor's threshold's different. Every investor's idea of a cap rate is different. All you're trying to do is to identify some of those different areas. So when you say, hey, listen, Bob, do you still own the property at 123 Main Street? Great. Is that your primary residence? No, it's not. So you use it as a rental. Awesome. Have you thought what 2024 looks like? Well, what do you mean by that, Jeff? Well, are you one of 3 investors? Okay, so I view an investor in 1 or 3 categories. Which one are you, Bob? Are you looking to grow your portfolio? So are you a buyer? Are you looking to sell, get rid of your portfolio? Or are you simply looking to hold? Well, based off of one of those 3 answers, then you can start putting stuff together. Great, so you are a seller. If I brought you an able, willing buyer who was willing to pay the terms and the price that you're looking for, you would consider selling this property today. Yes? Yes, great, awesome. It's my job to go find that person. As you have conversations like this, you're going to start putting together a list. Buyers, sellers, people who want to hold, right? That's it. They fall into one of those 3 categories. So with all of that being said, I want to open up today. This is going to be very, very different than a typical Focus Friday. I want to open up this to some Q&A. Use the chat box, fire off some questions for me, centered around prospecting, specifically for attracting listings. But by no means does that mean I will not address any buyer-specific type questions, objection handling, 5x5s, whatever the case may be. So before you guys start blowing up the chat box, which I'm hoping you will, I wanted to bring up a question that I received in my social media just the other day. You ready for it? So this is what it said. Jeff, what's your go-to play for getting engagement with homeowners? What's your go-to play for getting engagement with homeowners? Well, if you know anything about me, if you've ever coached with me, my answer is simply this. It depends. It depends if you're looking to buy, if you're looking to sell, or if you're an investor. In this case, they were speaking specifically about a listing. Well, how would I re-engage with some people? Well, there's a couple things that I would do. I would look at data. Jeff, what are you talking about? I believe an appreciation schedule is a very, very underused tool within our marketplace. Well, Jeff, what do you actually mean? I don't know why my ring light is flipping out right now. Sorry, guys. Appreciation schedule. So remember, we talked about the 4 to 9 years. Well, why is that important? Well, chances are, if you're anything like Bozeman, Montana, you've seen some appreciation that is just like mind-boggling, right? I think every one of our markets is seeing that average sales price increase 10, 15, 30, 50%, probably in the last 3 years. It's probably significantly higher than that in the last 4 years. Think about it from a 9-year perspective. So then some of the questions that pop up are simply this. Well, where would I go if I sold? Well, great, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. So let me ask you a question. Where would you want to go? What does your home look like? What does your dream home look like? And so the long and the short of it is you go through this little exercise. You say, let's go shopping first before we sell second. Now, granted, we have to sell 9 times out of 10 in order to purchase, but we understand sort of that whole deal. But always remember this, guys, if they don't know their options, they don't have any. If you don't know your options, you don't have any. So making sure that you're aware of your options. But what's so powerful about the appreciation schedule is simply this. Wow, holy cow, Bob, you bought in 2011, you bought in 2017. Do you have any idea how much appreciation? Average sales price in 2023 was X. Purchase price of yours was how much? Holy smokes, dude, that's 114%. Guys, these are real conversations that they might not realize. Well, what would I do with that 114%, Bob or Jeff? Well, Bob, it depends. What do you want to do with it? Well, I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Well, what does it look like to have passive income? Well, I don't know. I've never thought about that. What does it look like to leverage your home to buy an income producing home? I don't know. I've never thought of that. Guys, if you don't know your options, you don't have any. Let's jump into the chat. I did see one question come up. Jimmy, thank you. Jeff, I want to sell, but if rates come down and prices go up, shouldn't I wait to sell my home until that happens? Won't I get a better return? Well, Jimmy, yes. Yes. The answer is yes. But, or I should say, and. So the question is, how long are you willing to wait to see if rates come down? How long are you willing to wait to see how much prices go up? So I would challenge you, because as prices go up, interest rates will probably be affected by that. So now what's going to happen inevitably is more buyers are going to be hitting the market. They're going to be infiltrating because they're going to have the same attitude. They're going to be sitting on the sidelines waiting for prices and more importantly, interest rates for them. That's more importantly because they don't know their options. If they sit there and wait and try and play it absolutely perfect, guys, there's no crystal ball. What's the saying that if you traded on the 10th highest yielding days on the S&P, right, the stock market, like you would be a bajillionaire? 10 days over the course of like something like 25 years. 365 times 25 is a whole hell of a lot more than 10. So to time it perfectly is just absolutely insane. So same thing with this. So as prices, because it's my honest opinion that prices are not going to go down. They're going to be flat a little bit, right? Worst case scenario. Every prediction that we see, every forecast is saying incremental increases. Well, here's an example for you. Over the last 90 days, and this is just me being a data nerd, okay? In Bozeman, Montana, the average sales price the last 90 days was $835,000 for a single family home. Same time period last year, it was $745,000. It's a 12% increase. But you're right, the market sucks, right? So again, understanding, well, where's the pricing going? What's happening? It's my honest opinion that I'd say, hey, Jimmy, do you honestly think prices are going to move down or that prices are going to go up? Well, inevitably, they're going to go up. Great, awesome. So if interest rates are at 6 today, and you're hoping that they get to 5, how long could we go? Well, I don't know. I mean, Jeff, I'd be willing to wait forever. Okay, so if you wait for it to hit 5, let's call it 8 months from now. Do you think the price is going to be the same or a little higher? If we use this math, we can anticipate an 8% increase from today than it will be in 8 months. That's up to you. Oh, so what I've found that is really, really helpful is when you can show, hey, listen, this is what your payment is at 6.5. This is what your payment is at 5.5. This is what your payment is at 7.5. It's not nearly as bad as you think. So there's a couple of ways that we can handle that. We can do 3-to-1 buy downs, 2-to-1 buy downs, all that kind of fun stuff. Or Jimmy, you could stop going to Starbucks 3 times a day and you'd be able to afford it. Cool? Awesome. So I say that tongue in cheek, but the reality is they just have to peel it all back. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Big Daddy, love Big Daddy. Jeff, my rate on my current home has a 2 in front of it. Why would I sell? So Big Daddy, question for you is, are you in your dream home? If the answer is no, okay, great. Big Daddy, does your footprint of your home allow you to make it your dream home? And this is going to go one of 2 ways. Well, yes, great. Then why are we even having the conversation? Why would I try and convince you to not, or to sell at your current interest rate if your home currently doesn't fit your dream home status, but can easily become your dream home? Well, let's just do a remodel and let's rock and roll. Let's have a hell of a party in the summer. But if the answer is no, Jeff, I don't have enough space, my footprint doesn't allow it, I would have to blow out the whole damn thing. Okay, well, now we have a different talk track. Now it's, all right, hey, Big Daddy, tell me this. What does your dream home look like? Great. It's this. It's a 5-bed. It's got the infinity pool. It's got all the fun stuff. It's the ski in, ski out. Totally great. Does that property exist today in your eyes? Well, I haven't seen anything. Great. So I haven't either. And if I have, it's a price point at 1 point whatever. Is that a price point you're looking for? No, Jeff, I really want to stay right here and keep my mortgage payment the same. Great. So then I'm going to reverse engineer it. I'm going to look at the math piece and say, okay, if you have X amount of equity, we can dump that in. Well, Jeff, I don't want to blow it all. I got to, I got to put blinds and new window coverings and all that fun stuff. I got to repaint it if I buy it. Okay. All right. Great. So Big Daddy, if I found you a dream home, it met the terms, the pricing, all that fun stuff, are we going to purchase? Well, Jeff, I just don't know. Well, if the answer is yes, then great. Let's go shopping. Let's be open-minded to possibly doing a remodel or painting or, zhuzhing it up, as my wife would say. Or if the answer is no, then you're like, okay, great. Well, so it's my job. I'll go find it. I'll bring it to you, and then we'll sell. So Big Daddy, the question is, are you more worried about the interest rate or are you more worried about the payment? And 9 times out of 10, it's the payment. Okay, it's the payment. 2 townhouses for sale in my complex. One with an agent, not you. Well, Kathleen, we got to change that, right? 1 FSBO, represented seller, sold within a week. Weird. NAR would tell us that even if they're like, so this is always the tricky piece, right? So we have statistics coming out of our ears. NAR would tell you that a represented home by an agent gets roughly 42%. God, I wish Todd was on here because he knows this number and it's astronomical, because it used to be about 16% more, which is drastically higher than 6%, right? And that's always the hang up. Well, I'll save 6% if I sell it myself. Okay, cool. That's a sweet story. You should tell it at parties. Even if it is priced correctly, the fear of the FSBO piece is simply, well, Kathleen, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm an attorney. Great. So you understand contracts. Yes. Do you understand marketing? And then just shut up and listen. Well, yeah, I put it on Facebook and I'll blast it out and I'll beg my family to share it. Oh, okay, great. So that's not a marketing strategy. That's part of a marketing strategy. Do you understand the power of brand? Well, yeah. Okay. So if you recognize that the #1 brand in anything that you do, okay, is X, do you feel more comfortable working with those people? Well, yeah, of course. Okay. So if I'm a trial lawyer, and that's what you are, you've tried thousands of cases and I've done 10. And 2 people or 1 person's looking to look at both of us, right? The trial lawyer with a ton of experience or the trial lawyer fresh after passing the bar. Who are they going to pick if all things were equal? Probably you. Just like you want to pick somebody who's actually done this hundreds and hundreds of times. Maybe even 10. If you're newer into the business, guys, leverage the statistics that come from your office. In this office here alone, I think we have over 200 years of experience. Do you understand how powerful that is? Hey, when you list with me, you not only get the longest standing brand of all time, but here locally, we have 200 plus years of experience. Do you see how that's a value for you? Yes or hell yes? The answer is absolutely hell yes. Ask, are you living in your dream home? That's exactly right. Thank you very, very much, Jimmy. I think this is a massive one that you can never underplay. Because if you've ever heard me speak before, again, you hear me talk about bouncing the needle back and forth between logical and emotional. Sometimes we need them to be emotional. Sometimes we need them to think logically. But a lot of times we want to get that back over, right? The reason I'm pricing my home at X, because little Timmy's handprints are in the concrete patio in the back corner next to the tree that our dog is buried in. So that's clearly worth $57,000, Jeff, to you. To the consumer, they're simply looking at the data. So that's where the logical piece comes in. And from the dream home, you get to say, hey, Jimmy, how would it make you feel if you got to see your kids run out of the back door, chasing wild ass turkeys, right? Like all the things, all the feels out in the country for a lot of people is what they want. Some people want the convenience of being able to walk downstairs and go across the street and have the best steak dinner they've ever had. Just identify and understand what it is that they're looking for. Yes, Matt, you're exactly right. You can never time the market, any market, doesn't matter what we're talking about. You can never time it perfectly. But here's the thing, when you know your options, you have options. If you don't know your options, you don't have any. Okay, so there is the whole deal. And I think it got beat up by us. We think it might be a little mock, but like there's truth in this. Date the rate, marry the house, date the rate, however the actual sequence goes. But there's some truth to that. There's some absolute truth to that. If it's your dream home, and yes, we might have to skimp back and it's going to cost me an extra $200 a month. All right, I'm going to figure out a way. I'm going to absolutely figure out a way if it's my dream home. Okay? You'd be shocked at the things that you would do to make sure that you and your family are living in the absolute perfect home in your life at that moment will do for anybody. So Kathleen, back to what's my opening line for the FSBO as I just walk over? Well, that's a good question. That's a really, really good question. So my opening line is simply, hey, once we've exchanged pleasantries, hey, listen, Kathleen, it's Jeff. Like we spoke on the phone. Thank you so much for inviting me into your home. As I mentioned on the phone, I'm a real estate professional. It is my job to make sure that I am aware of everything that is currently on the market. As you know, on a for sale by owner, this doesn't hit our MLS. So therefore, we don't get necessarily notified. Most of my competition isn't paying attention to forsalebyowner.com. I obviously am because I'm on an absolute hunt to find the perfect property for my clients. Now, I don't know if this is the perfect one for them or not, but let me ask you a question, Kathleen. How has your activity been? And they're going to tell you three different things: amazing, terrible, nothing, right? Okay, great. Have you received any offers? No. How long has it been on the market? Right, guys, like we're just asking all of the questions. And then you can simply say, well, what are you doing from a marketing perspective? Well, I took a couple pictures and I obviously got the sign in the yard. I know it's awesome. It even fell over because the wind was blowing so bad. Like showings, are you having to accommodate them? How are you working with other agents? Are you working with others? Are you saying no? Absolutely. So you just have to kind of paint this realistic picture that they might not know what the hell they're doing. And that's okay. Because again, as a salesperson, your job is to help them make decisions that help themselves. If they're okay saying, hey, listen, I'm totally cool with this thing sitting on the market for 182 years. You know, I'm joking. I over-exaggerate 1,000 times. But the reality is, if you say, hey, Kathleen, let me ask you a question. Where are you planning on going after you sell? Well, I'm going to move to St. George, Utah. Okay. Why? Well, I have a job waiting for me. Oh, okay, great. That's amazing. Congratulations. Do you have a start date in mind? Yeah, I have to be there by September 1st. Oh, okay, great. So that means you have to leave here by no later than what? August 29th, 25th? Yeah, no later. Do you have a place that you're going to live down there? No, I have to sell this in order to do that. Oh, okay. So time's sort of the essence. Yes. Right. So how long can you wait before you can't? Does that make sense? How long can you afford to not have this property sold, have another replacement property under contract, and still get to St. George, Utah within the time of your start date? They don't necessarily think about it that way. All they're thinking most of the time, they're thinking about, how do I save 6%? So that's the logical piece. Now I have to bring it back to emotion. So Kathleen, how would it make you feel if you weren't settled, kids were ready for school, all that stuff before September 1? Yeah, that would be really, really scary. Yeah, absolutely. So if we know it's anywhere from 45 to 60 days to close, we have to reverse engineer this thing. So if you don't have this property under contract by June 1st, we're not going to hit the September 1 date. How would that make you feel? Really, really bad. So what do you know about the current market conditions? Well, Zillow tells me this. Well, Zillow's the anti-data. I wanted to go a different place, but you know what I'm saying. They're not going to sell your house. This is what I do for all of my people. Would that be beneficial for you? Yes or no? Great. Awesome. Can I set up a time where I can present what I would do in order to sell your house so that you and your family could be settled in before September 1st when you start your new job and the kids are in their new school? So that's something that I would chat about. Again, bouncing back, logical and emotional. Let's see here. We kind of touched on the 3% interest rate piece, right? The dream home. A lot of people right now are like, well, Jeff, there's just not a lot of buyers, so I'm going to wait till spring. Well, when we wait to spring, which is literally right around the corner, mind you, if we wait till spring, guess what else happens? More buyers? Yes, 100%. It seems inevitable, but there's also more competition, right? And it's been my experience that over the last few years, especially since COVID, that we don't have these seasons any longer. I know in Iowa, they always tease about this 100-day selling season. Well, if you talk to some of them, they're like, yeah, Jeff, that was probably closer to about 135 last year. Well, hell, that's a full another month, right? Like that's a real thing. And so what I mean by that is there are buyers still in the market who are not going anywhere because they are ready to make the plunge into new home ownership. So I think data helps us out a lot. I talked briefly about it last week in the pending ratio, right? So again, from a statistical standpoint, in Bozeman, 90-day periods year over year, the pending ratio was 157 over 193. I can't do great math off the top of my head. That's roughly 83%. That's pretty good. Anything above 50% deemed a seller's market. All right. So they're like, okay, that's great, but the numbers way off from last year. Okay, well, if you think so, last year, I thought you would say that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. So what I did was I compared the same time period last year so you could see where we were at. And in this situation, there was a difference, are you ready for it, of 10 properties, not 10%, 10. Like we're talking, what is that, 2%, 4%, 4%. That ain't a lot, right, with this sample size. So understanding the data, let the data tell the story. Let the data tell the story, all right? And sometimes the biggest impact is flipping over a sheet of paper and actually showing them the quick math. So I love, obviously, the data. I love the numbers. It's my jam, okay? For the sake of time, any other questions? Yes, give me your elevator pitch value proposition, why I would pay you 6%. Hey, listen, Kenan, the reality is I charge 7%, but because I like you and your shaved head, I'll give it to you for 6. I'm teasing, all things aside. If you guys recall, Kate Rossi, what did Kate Rossi say? Hey, listen, weak, I get it. Kate Rossi said what? She goes, hey, Kenan, I charge 3.5%. What do you want to pay the buyer? Well, Jeff, what do I get for 3.5%? Well, here's what you get. Here's all the things. Yes, my Iowa friends, you guys are awesome. You guys should be teaching this piece, Angela, especially you. That's 7% life. But here's everything that is involved in this. And I witnessed this firsthand just a few weeks ago. My wife was talking with a developer, and that developer was like, hey, can I ask you a question completely off the record? And you're like, uh-oh, where's this going? How do you handle this, and this? Like, what involvement do you have? And she goes, well, frankly, it's my responsibility to find this person, that technician, this, and this. And this person looked at him and like, huh. So I shouldn't necessarily be doing all this. She goes, well, for some people, that's probably their MO. But what you pay me for my professional fee is to handle all of these things that I live in on a daily basis. You do this occasionally, and there's no knock on that. But here's the reality. You are entrusting me for figuring out all of these. It's my job to simply come back to you and give you the solution or the options, and then you can choose which one you feel is best based off of my recommendation. Is that fair? And I can't wait to report other things down the road based off of that conversation. Like, that means a ton to everybody. Okay. So obviously today we jumped into, and I'm sorry, I didn't get to everybody's questions or comments, even though Kennan's making fun of me, is simply this. Our focus, like, think of it this way. If every month you, the agent, woke up knowing that you had a listing that was going to hit the market some point in that month, what's the impact that would have? When you control the market, when you control the listings, you control your destiny. You control the financial piece. You control your goals. One listing every month, every agent. That is our singular focus as a leadership team. So if you would allow me, I would love to fill you in on something that we're doing now. So starting the week of March 4th, every day at 1:30 Mountain Standard Time, we are going to be role-playing talk tracks. We are going to be showing you tips on how to build upon your list, on how to create your list, on what should I be saying to my list. Everything from how do I get more listing appointments, how do I present better at the listing presentation to make you the most skilled agents in the industry, the most skilled agents across the board, so that we have more blue and white signs littered everywhere in all of our markets. We're going to help each other build up in our own communities. We're going to celebrate all of those wins for all of our agents. But our goal here, team, is every single day at 1:30 Mountain Standard Time, we are going to be providing you with the skill set, the talk track, the confidence. That's probably the biggest one, the confidence to go out there and absolutely destroy the market in a positive way for yourself. Then here's the biggest piece afterwards. Are you guys ready for this one? So immediately following the skill set piece, think Boiler Room. It's a movie. I don't care what you think about it, but I just think of scenes with everybody in there banging phones, calling all this stuff. It's high-fiving, it's celebrating, doing all the things. Guys, I want to turn our offices into call centers. Now, before you even say, Jeff, how in the world? What? That scares me. That gives me anxiety. Hey, listen, I get it. I totally understand. But it's a lot less anxious when you know what the heck it is that you're going to say. When you are trained on the spot. It's as if I'm sitting behind you, listening to your call. I got the little headpiece in, earpiece in, and be like, hey, say this, right? Like, it's all of those things. We are talking on the job training, something I've never heard of in our industry. And this is what we are committed to bringing to every single one of your managing directors, myself included, Todd Conklin included. Like, you have some access to the just amazing leadership, amazing skill sets that every single day, Monday through Friday, 1:30 Mountain Standard Time, you are going to get 20 minutes, 30 minutes of just like pure light your hair on fire. Let's go. And then after that, as a group, as an office, and I know some of you guys are having listing competitions at the moment where you get points awarded when you do calls with your team. You're welcome. Just show up, pick up some phones. Have fun with it. We want to celebrate it. We want tons of energy. I mean, in a perfect world, I'd have big gongs everywhere in the office. You get a listen, you bang the hell out of that thing. Let everybody know. Have fun with it. I know our MDs are excited. They might not be as excited as me. I'm a little excitable when it comes to this. As your VP of sales, this is my singular focus on making you the absolute best listing agents in the industry. So make sure you guys are looking out for that. And also this week, you will see the link to get you all signed up for coaching, that next round of coaching that is going to be popping up. Guys, I hope you had an amazing week, and I hope you finish up so darn strong. Have a great 3-day weekend for some of you. I will see you all next week. Thanks, guys.